friends, this is Jade Bolden and welcome to my video today. I have a question for you. How would you like to feel light and free? Yeah, we all would like that, right? So there's a way we can do that. All right, and I want to share with you how to do that today. So today we're going to talk about the Forgive oil. It's a blend and it helps with forgiveness, feeling unattached to things. It helps you release that hold on things, helps you with anxious feelings, ulcers and liver support, skin support, addictions and irritability, helps with spiritual and emotional toxicity, and helps with hair loss, and helps with emotional renewing. Okay, so the blend is made out of bergamot, spruce, thyme, citronella, juniper berry fruit, arborvitae, myrrh, and Nootka tree. Okay, so if you can let go of the feelings of guilt, anger, bitterness, and other similar negative emotions, you'll be able to feel free and light. Okay, and Forgive oil is a blend of the herbs and the tree oils and a hint of fruit to help you with that, and it's so powerful. So you know, when you learn to forgive, it becomes easy for you to not feel hurt anymore or offended in situations. Okay, so it's really liberating. So let's go through some of the oils. So bergamot helps you feel confident that you can do this, that it isn't difficult at all. Spruce helps you with flexibility, helps you break chains and negative generational patterns. Thyme is the oil of releasing and forgiving. Citronella creates healthy boundaries and repels negativity. Juniper berry is about being okay with the unknown. Arborvitae Nootka tree is about surrendering to the divine and receiving grace. Okay, and myrrh is about trusting that Mother Nature will take care of you, so you can release the fears and feel safe. Okay, so those are the oils that make up the Forgive oil. Okay, so it helps with mind, body, and spirit, like all the things we talk about here. So with the body, it helps with ulcers and liver support. Okay, so we can apply it on the abs and the reflex points, on the feet or the hands, whatever. And we'll talk more about the emotions of the ulcers and liver in a minute. Skin support, you can directly apply it on the areas you need. It's got myrrh, which is fantastic for skin. It's got thyme, which is fantastic for skin, and arborvitae and other tree oils great for cleansing when you have some of the you know, irritations. I guess it helps cleanse the skin too. Okay, so just remember though that any sort of skin irritation is about letting things get under your skin and irritate you because you let it. Yes, so releasing and forgiving those negative thoughts will help you not let things get under your skin so much. Okay, it helps with addiction. Addictions are sort of like a need to be negative, a need to be self-abusive and sabotage. So diffuse that Forgive oil and apply it to your pulse points. It helps with circulation. So as you relax and feel more calm, your body will be able to have more circulation and send that blood flow and all the nutrients and the goodness to all the corners of your body. Okay, it's great for cleansing from environmental threats. So if you're coming down with something, if your body is you know, feeling unwell in some way, you know, it's got the arborvitae, it's got the thyme, and those oils are very powerful against environmental threats. So you can apply it to the bottom of your feet or on your tummy if you feel like, oh, there's some sort of indigestion there. That's great. This oil is great for that. Great for prostate support. So apply it on your ankles and on the bottom of your feet and near that area too. Okay, great for libido. So what you do is just inhale it. You want to get it into your brain, right? And then rub it on your ankles, okay? Because that's the reflex points for, yeah, that area. Hair loss is applied to the bottom of your feet, especially the big toe. But remember, hair loss comes from holding on to those negative thoughts and not sharing that energy or creating with that energy. Okay, so you're holding on to these negative thoughts. Your body's not going to produce hair and allow things to be as it should. Okay, it's kind of like stuck energy. All right, so that's the body, what you can do with the forgive oil for the body. Now for the mind. Forgive oil is the oil of forgiving, right? It's a good name. So according to the Emotions and Essential Oil book, it helps you remove emotions such as unforgiving, critical, judgmental, resentfulness, cynical, bitter, blaming, and anger. Okay, so it just helps you remove all those. Woo, right? It helps you adopt forgiving, light, free, loving, understanding, tolerant, empathetic. So those are the positive emotion it helps you get. So why we do this is sometimes we have deep-seated thoughts and emotions and beliefs, and sometimes we try to push through it just on the surface, and it's difficult. But when we use essential oils and we say things, it's multi-sensory and it's rewiring that brain. Okay, because we have, you know, about 30,000 automatic responses, you know, and choices that we make each day. And our body saves energy by, you know, automating a lot of the responses. So now we just have to go in there and reprogram. That's what we're trying to do here. Okay, so, you know, these automatic responses, it takes a bit of effort to push through, and you need to have a bit of self-awareness. Okay, just be honest with yourself. Otherwise, it's difficult because, you know, you're doing it passively. So as we, if we feel anxious feelings, you can just put the oils in your palms, smell it, or put it in a diffuser and put it over your heart. And then you can say this affirmation: I am light, free, loving, and understanding. And you can do that for a couple of months until you feel like you've really adopted it and it's become this automatic response inside of you. Okay, so as I promised, we'll talk about the emotions of ulcers and liver. So emotions of ulcer, according to the Feelings Buried Alive Never Die book, is worrying over details, conflict as to capability. I can, no I can't, I can. Frustration that at not having things go your way, the way you want. Okay, pressures are too much to bear. Feeling anxious feelings, anxiety, fear of or tension, seeking revenge, feeling of conflict, helplessness, and powerless. Okay, so those are emotions that create ulcers, right? So the emotions of the liver, the anger center. So you know how people, when they drink, and sometimes they get really angry, it's because it is affecting that anger center. All right, so of course it's about feelings of unresolved anger, feelings of resentment and pettiness, being judgmental, critical thoughts, not forgiving others, and feelings of injustice and revenge, feelings of self-condemnation, feelings of regret over the past, feelings of sadness, and being possessive. Okay, so those are the emotions. Maybe you can identify with some of them, maybe you can't. You know, it's good to just give yourself some time and be honest. So for me, I'd like to think of myself as positive all the time, but I know that I'm human, and I've inherited a lot of stuff from my family. So, you know, because of stuff, you know, but so I just have to be honest with myself, and I can say, yeah, yep, I can see some of that in me. As much as I try to repress it, let's resolve it. Let's let it out and resolve it for good. So emotions of hair loss. Okay, this is interesting. Unable to be flexible in changing your thinking. Okay, not using your power, your power to choose. That's what it means. And relying on others for your sense of security and safety. So your happiness is attached to others. When they do this, then I'll be happy. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. And we don't have to. We need to unattach ourselves to things like and people. Okay, so emotional toxicity is, you know, something that we hold on in our hearts. So you can apply the forgive oil over your heart, and you can inhale it, so you can release that toxicity. And how can you tell if you've released it? Of course you feel better and happy, but you know, those negative thoughts, they're physically manifested in stuff like bacteria, fungus, parasites. You know, I know there's some good bacteria, but these are bad ones, and you hold on to it, okay? And so you can say, well, I caught this really because you've opened up yourself and it found a home. For most positive people, those things go in and die off, right? So if you hold on to those negative thoughts, you bring it in and you hold it in and you make room for it, okay? So when you release those negative thoughts, right, we help your body cleanse of those environmental threats, and then your body is more relaxed, and you know, those parasitic life forms inside your body is released, okay? And that's how you know that you've cleansed really effectively. So it might be a little bit tough at first, but you can push through that toxicity, be brave, all right? So apologize, forgive, and choose to be happy, okay? You got to choose to be happy intentionally. All right, sometimes we know exactly what we don't like, but we need to identify what we do like, all right, and create that, okay? So I like this quote here. It says, the first to apologize is the bravest, the first to forgive is the strongest, and the first to forget is the happiest. Isn't that great? By author unknown, but it's cool. Okay, so let's move on to the spirit side of things, right? We're taught at church and other places that we need to forgive, right? And sometimes we don't know how, and sometimes we feel like it's too difficult. So just explore this a little bit with me here. So feeling unforgiving is holding on to negative judgment of someone or situation based on your limited understanding. There's a scripture, it says, lean not unto thine own understanding. Okay, so when this happens, you know that we're being prideful, we're holding on to our own thoughts and not the way that we should, you know, according to God. Because when we hold on to our limited thoughts, we're holding ourselves back, and you know, you'll feel that. So we as humans seek for understanding all the time. We're learning, right? By you know, making judgments on people's actions and you know, things. So we use our current understanding to make those calls, but it's like judging an infant child learning how to walk. Because, you know, would you ever judge an infant and say he's unworthy to succeed, or say that he's never going to be a walker, right? Of course he's going to be you know, falling when he starts to attempt, you know, to take his first couple of steps, because he's never walked before, right? You would never judge, all right, in that way, right? So likewise, you've never been this age before, right? I've never been this age before. So things are still new to us. We're still practicing how to be like God. So remember, we don't have all the information to judge conclusively, right, and thoroughly. So we should let that go. And you know, God asks us to judge wisely if we were to judge. So what does that mean, to be wise? I feel like it means giving people the benefit of the doubt and assuming the best intentions and motives in people. So assuming that that person is doing something good, and that's why it's like this, okay? In that way, you'll feel liberated too. So in Matthew 7:1, it says, judge not that ye be not judged. You will see that below, we'll talk about it, that you subconsciously judge yourself the same way you judge others, okay? You will. All right, so we're going to be careful with that. So let God do his job, guys, because his job is to judge us at the end of our journey here on earth, right? At the end. So don't take God's job from him midway through your journey, right? So you haven't finished yet, but you've already decided that you're no good or whatever it is. So that's silly, isn't it? So focus on your part. Your part of, you know, is your job here on earth to keep the commandments. So all the commandments hang on the first two commandments. So we're simplifying it, we're making it easy, right? So focus on those first two, which is love God and love others like you love yourself. And that's it. And if you do those well, you really do the other ones too, naturally. Okay, so remember, this love is unconditional love. And unconditional means that you are not attaching your happiness to any conditions. So these common conditions are people's actions, thoughts, outcomes, and situations. So it's when you say, I'm happy when my husband understands. Okay, so we're unattached to that. Whether he understands or not, we're still going to choose to be happy, right? Choose to have faith and stuff. So as we unattach to these conditions and surrender our will to God, we'll find that loving others unconditionally is easier because we feel the love of God for us. So be happy when my husband succeeds in his business or whatever. No, I'm happy now. I love unconditionally. He can be this and I'll still love him. He can be that and I can still love him, right? So, you know, that's liberating, and it makes people feel safe around you. So it may take a while for you to wrap your head around this and apply it to your daily situations, but it is possible, and I'm testifying that it is possible, and it brings a lot of peace and freedom. So we are imperfect humans, so attaching our happiness to other imperfect humans as they, live their humanity, right? And their life is ever changing. This happiness is attached to a sandy foundation, really. Can you see that? That's why we need to love God first, to kind of rearrange that priority. So loving God is our first priority, and it helps us attach to God and anchor ourselves to his foundation and power. It's a firm foundation. Okay, so that firm foundation of love and power from God makes it easier for us to love ourselves. So we will see ourselves in his eyes. Okay, we are his children with great potential to be like him. So loving ourselves unconditionally as we journey along this life will help us see others with more understanding and tolerance. So we'll be kinder to others because we are kinder to ourselves. So what makes it hard for us to be kind to ourselves sometimes? So it's the automatic parenting in our minds that make it hard for us to be kind to ourselves. So often as adults, we treat ourselves the way our parents or caregivers have treated us as a child. So we may have assumed negatively, they may have assumed negatively about you, so you do the same towards yourself now as an adult. So most of the time, we're not aware, but adults, we naturally parent ourselves the same way we were parented, all right, even though our parents may not be around. So we consciously and subconsciously rebuke ourselves and think poorly of ourselves, inflict pain and punishment of some sort upon ourselves whenever we do wrong. Okay? So sometimes that punishment means self-sabotage or self-denial. All right, so instead, allow me to suggest this. Okay? Trust that the natural consequence of nature is sufficient punishment. Okay? And that further punishment and judgment by you only backfires by sending negative messages, okay, such as you are not good enough, you're not smart enough, you mess up, you are not worthy, lovable, or valuable. Okay, so you can see that. So allow just the natural consequence to be sufficient. All right, your job is to love, okay, and love unconditionally. So don't play God and add to it. The punishment, because we're momentarily humans and not saintly as we should be, right? So if you perpetuate this parenting and punishment, you will do the same for others, right? You'll be hard on others. You'll be critical of others, right? And, they would do the same for you because this negative pattern lives in your heart. Okay, so the heart attracts its identical energy. So you want to change that energy quickly. So punishment is used as a form of motivation in our society, right? Sometimes the subconscious holds onto fear and pain as a form of motivation to get us to do something, right? And that is the human way of motivation. Okay, fear, shame, and pain is not a positive way to motivating us to be more like God. Okay, it creates nothing. It actually destroys. It keeps destroying. All right, it doesn't create. It causes chaos. Release the need to be motivated by fear, pain, and shame. So sometimes people say, oh, I need to be stressed. You know, if I'm not stressed and if I'm not under the pressure, I don't do anything. Okay, because they're so used to being pushed. Okay, but we don't want that. All right, we should allow God's love and positivity to pull us towards and draw us into happiness, light, and love. So instead of being pushed, allow yourself to be pulled by positivity. So intentionally choose to believe that belief, okay, that you want to move forward towards happiness, light, and love. Okay. So the pain we feel when we subconsciously choose to allow others to hurt us, or or to be offended by people, is just a mirror of our subconscious truths that we believe about ourselves. So when you say, oh, so-and-so offended me, so-and-so hurt me, okay, it's you that has chosen it. So I hope you are honest enough with yourself to see that. So if the truth that, wasn't there, the truth of that whatever it is that underneath the surface wasn't there, then you wouldn't hurt. So be grateful and use that pain as a clue to discover the root, the negative root of your feelings and thoughts. So once you've resolved it, you're liberated and you do not feel that hurt if something ever to happen again like that. So I'll give you an example. So I was, I didn't know this about me, but I was a really, really good, I worked really hard to be a really good mum. I tried to get all my kids to read by the age of 3. So we were very diligent. We had our schedules and they all did. They read around age 3, taught them numbers, colors, shapes, and all sorts of things. I was overzealous and excited and did 110% whenever I could for as far as parenting is concerned. And then one day at church, a lady made a comment and she said, oh, you shouldn't feed your kids that, or whatever. It was silly, but it hurt me. And I thought to myself, why did I choose to be hurt and offended? I chose that. So I asked myself, do I believe that I am not a good mother? Because I am worried about this lady, because my thought was, she doesn't think I'm a good mom. And then, so that's a thought, right? So underneath the thought is a belief. So I asked myself, do I believe that I'm not a good mom? And I think, yeah, I do. So I thought, where did that come from? So, I figured, I think it probably came from mom. She tries really hard. She didn't have a mum that she could be with. I mean, they were very poor. Her mother was beautiful and kind and loving, but they were poor. So mum had to go and work when she was 7. So she left home when she was 7. So she didn't get that chance to learn how to be, an awesome mama, she thought. So I figured, oh yeah, that's where it's from. So I released it and then I rewrote it. And I said to myself, with God, I am a good mum because he shows me how to be a good mum for these children, and he will give me all the gifts and talents and abilities that he sees fit to serve these children. And if I don't have more, then that's fine. I should be grateful for what I am given because it's sufficient, right? So I worked on that. Fast forward a few years, I was doing doTERRA Diamond Club, and I was traveling a lot with Diamond Club. For those who don't know, that's doTERRA's short 4-month sprint of helping people travel with your reimbursements so that they can build their business. So every other weekend I was gone, and so there's a particular woman at church, and she noticed that I wasn't there very often, that Ben had to take care of the children's, my husband Ben. And so she made a conclusion. She said, look, she thinks that I'm a very neglectful mum, and she had to tell me that. And I kind of laughed, and it didn't hurt me or anything at all, because I feel like I don't have that fear under the surface, and I already know my path, and so it didn't faze me. So I want to tell you that sometimes people can say you know, things, and you know, it doesn't matter. You know, it's not them, it's you. Okay, if you feel hurt and if you feel offended, then ask yourself questions. You know, what are your thoughts, and what is your feelings and beliefs, right? And then when your belief changes, your thoughts change, and then your feelings would change. So if something like that ever to happen again, it wouldn't faze you. It doesn't matter, right? It's just not hurt. It's okay. All right, so that's what feeling and releasing these negative beliefs will help you do. Okay, it's so liberating. So it's tempting to blame others or situations for your pain that you have. But remember that pain, like I said, it's a clue, right, of a false belief. But blaming others will give away your power and only makes you more miserable. Blaming does not make you more powerful, okay? It makes you... okay, so let me repeat again. Blaming does not make you feel more empowered or free. Blaming is subconsciously believing that you are weak. All right, so that should be some belief that you need to check in and check on. All right, of course you are weak, right? But in God you are strong. So if you're connected to God, you will be strong. So anyone fully connected to God will be, to that strong power source, will be fully responsible for their responses to life stimuli. So intentionally choosing and being fully accountable for those choices helps us be free. Okay, so sometimes we are the blamer, and other times others blame. So if you imagine it as these bags or burdens of that's heavy. So you've got your stuff, and then you think, okay, I'm going to dump my stuff onto this person. It's because of you that this has happened to me. All right, and sometimes people dump on you, and they want to blame you, right? So with this oil, it helps you have these healthy boundaries, and you say, no, I'm not taking that. Okay, and us help them see that they can choose to respond in a better way. And with my husband and I, because we do this, we learn about this, we say, well, hey, why did you respond that way? You know, that wasn't my intention. You chose to respond in that way. And sometimes if I am upset and I have to ask myself, why did I respond that way? Give me a second, let me figure this one out. All right, so we no longer try to dump our stuff on people, because you're not going to improve if you keep on giving away your power, right? So either way, you're not owning your power. So, you know, you may justify that holding on to the memory of pain and fear will keep you safe, but in reality, only God keeps you safe, right? So we can't keep ourselves safe, really. So we need to allow God to do his job. Even if you hide in a corner, you know, of the world, you can be hit by lightning or whatever it is, you know. So really, in reality, you don't have that power, okay? So God keeps you safe. So learn the lessons and trust that you will know better, okay? So, hey, this hurt me. I know I'm not going to do that again, all right? Instead of going, hold on, I got to hold on to that because I remember that pain that so-and-so inflicted on me. So surrender the job of judgment to God, right? He is just and merciful, so trust that he will be fair, right? Remember, you create what you focus on. So you will create more pain and fear when you hold on to that energy, okay? So you got to let go. I've seen people hold on to the energy of resentment and stuff, and because they were raped or whatever, and guess what? They created it again in their children because they hold on to it so much. You're a creative creature. I'm not talking about being creativity, you know, the creative, like colorful painting and musical. I'm not talking about that. It's just making and creating, putting together things. So if you've got this creative energy and you're focusing on the negative, you're going to create the negative. Okay, so let that go, and then focus that creative energy on where it will create good positive energy. Okay. So the more you love yourself, the more forgiving and loving and patient and understanding you become. So allow yourself to keep practicing heaven freely, okay? And then allow others to be free to do their thing. It helps them be safe. So here's some affirmations that you could use as you use the forgive oil, okay? So I freely receive love and light. I am light and free, as in, you know, not heavy. Light. The other light was about, you know, knowledge. I am kind and gentle with myself, so you're not going to punish yourself and beat yourself up. I allow others the freedom to be human and progress in their own way. And then I release the need to judge and take over God's job. Okay, so here is the handout, the top 10 things that you can do with the forgive oil. All right, and you know, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, please subscribe and share this with your friends. If you don't have a doTERRA wholesale account, please contact me and I'll help you with that. And if your friend shared this video with you, go back to your friend and set up a wholesale account with them. All right, that's all from me, and I look forward to talking to you next time.